everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of The Companion to The Companion, a Phish podcast that discusses the top 100 shows selected by the very wise gentleman at the Phish Companion book. We are going for number 4 here for 1692, Santa Barbara, California. Phish is hitting the West Coast for the first time, and it's a solid show.
Yeah, what a week of shows too. This, we'll get into it, but this tape was really one of those pivotal ones for everybody. Yeah. Everyone had this tape at some point early on, and it was just highly traded. And whether that's good or bad, it definitely was one that factored into everyone's early Phish career. It seems
it's true, and I think it's hard to deny that Anaconda Theater is a hell of a name for a theater. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, and I think the mix of the show, which, I remembered being awesome, but upon listening now with modern tech and headphones, I can't stand it. I don't enjoy the sound quality of the show. But I think you're driving around in your shitty old car and it's loud and it actually probably sounds great.
Yeah, I think just like right up front, since we're discussing this, we should say that Mike is way, way out in front.
So yeah, it was a lot of shows at this time and this run even. There's these soundboards that are just, Mike's loud.
Yeah, he is loud. And it's quite a contrast from the 3 shows we listened to before this, where you're not even really paying attention to Mike. He's in the background. And I'm not going to kind of praise this show as being just an almighty great show, but I do think that it is worthy for giving you an insight into what Mike is doing. Because I think, especially at this point in his career, he's still kind of figuring things out, and he's not playing a huge role in terms of improvisation and where the music goes. But he is very busy, and he's doing a lot of things, and he has a lot of ideas. And it is really cool to just kind of it's almost like having a backstage pass to see what's going on in the bass section of the music.
Yeah, and I, being a bassist, and listening to Mike Gordon a lot in my life, this was one of those early shows where I went, oh my God, this is the coolest instrument in the world, and this is everything I want to do. It really sat with me, and I think, there was the whole contingent of people for a louder Mike through the 94, 5, 6 kind of era before, he really got his new rig in 97 and really got cranked up in the bigger room mix.
Sure.
But there were those shows where live you could feel him, but the detail was lacking. Right. And that is definitely not the case in this show at all.
Yeah, I think
it's out there.
I really love the bassist that Mike became when he started embracing funk, and the band started letting him kind of control the rhythm a little bit more. But in these early shows where he's really going bonkers, he adds a sort of, I don't know if mystery is the right word, but there's a sort of confusion that happens in the music. It seems more overwhelming and bigger than it is, because you can't really understand what's going on, because there's just all these polyrhythms and so I think that is a really cool thing about this aspect of Phish, where when they really get into a jam, you can feel very overwhelmed, where you're just like, I don't even really know or understand what's happening, but I can feel it and I can appreciate it, which later on, when you could really kind of hear what Mike was doing, he was more creative, a groove and a rhythm that you can kind of feel and you can dance to. But it's really a different feeling. In a lot of ways, he was a very different musician back then.
But he still sounds, it's Mike Gordon when you listen to him. Ding! But it is very different. And this is before, the 92 to 93 jump was huge for the band.
Right.
And I think they really, 93, you can hear it in some of the, especially August 93, and July before it. They're taking risks like it's nobody's business. Mm-hmm. At this point, I think they're still trying to prove themselves. And I think, especially in a new venue, they're out west, they're just playing, it's Hollywood, it's San Francisco, it's it's big stuff in the musical world, and they're out to prove a point.
Yeah, and absolutely. San Francisco and LA.
That is shown in this.
You bet.
Yeah, and this is aggressive. It's loud. It's the energy almost. The high energy is an almost detriment at times to the music, which I very rarely would say with them. I like big energy shows.
Yeah.
But this one, it kind of there's points where it gets a little out of control. And as we go through the songs, like I'll pinpoint some moments, but where it takes away from the songs,
Right.
like Trey will get a little too excited and get out in front of it, and it'll get a little sloppy. And we can touch on before the show starts. Widespread Panic opened.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could count probably, on a small number of shows where they had an opener. And I think Widespread Panic opened this whole tour.
Yeah,
this whole
92
run
was more common, yeah.
And I would think that when you're touring with another band, especially when you're Phish, you're kind of ready to come out big and energetic. Say the opening band has a great show, you really, have something to prove rather than later in their career where they came out to there's been no music.
Right.
You kind of can own the sound a little more.
Yeah.
So that might have influenced the big energy. I don't know.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered that, especially since Widespread is kind of like a rock and blues band as well. So, and they were much similar, more similar bands at that time, where Phish didn't have that Southern influence necessarily. But yeah, not totally different. I could imagine by the end of that show being pretty guitared out. Maybe when I was younger, maybe not.
And I like the size, and I can reference the book. This show has no headphone jams, which is a little bit surprising, but I think it speaks to the show. It flows, but it doesn't have those giant pinnacles. But Adam Jeragim wrote the review of this. There's a show spotlight in the book, and I like starting with second paragraph. It says, "So showtime rolls around and we walk in. There were no more than 100 people in the venue, and there was plenty of space. You could walk to the stage and hang out, or drop back 15 feet and have lots of dancing room. Plus, it was a bar, and the place had arcade games all along the walls. By the time Widespread Panic finished their opening set, I'd say the crowd had grown to about 200 people total. I remember being stoked that I could leave the venue during set break and get pizza across the street, and then come back for the second set." It's a different time. I mean, I remember he talks about hanging out with a band before, and it's a few hundred people. It's a club. I looked around. It's hard to find pictures of the club. I know it was a bank before, but I found other bands that played there around that time. It was kind of a hard rock, punk, cutting edge music club. It's very cool.
Yeah.
A lot of really interesting early 90s bands were playing there. I'm sure Phish kind of stuck out a little bit compared to a lot of the other bands.
As they always do.
And maybe the room, it might just be a high energy room too. You get in there, you start playing, and some rooms just feel that.
Right.
So that might have lent to it. But
you were living in Southern California in 1992, right? Or no? Did you?
No.
Did you even come out till 90?
No. Yes. I was. I moved back east 93.
Because I was just thinking...
Am I backwards here? Nope, that's correct. I was living in Orange County.
I could feel you. I know
how old I am and where I was in my life.
I just think whenever I see pictures of Trey in 1992, he's generally wearing an oversized t-shirt with the sleeves cut off, like a sleeveless kind of t-shirt.
Yep.
And I can't imagine anything less stylish in Southern California in 1992 than how that band dressed. So I would imagine that any venue that they went into in California in 1992, I mean, this is probably true in any state of the country, but people just must have seen them and just been like, what's with these guys? And I'm sure that they knew that about themselves, but yeah.
And before I listen to all these shows, I like to go hunt the venue, look around for photos or any video clips of the show. And there aren't of this, but there are lots of things around it that you can find. And it was an interesting time. But they're in their world. I think they really were building a world.
Yeah.
And,
no, I mean, I think from my perspective, it made them so much cooler that they weren't trying to fit in, that they were just like, this is what we wear, is that we like to, dress goofy and make you laugh a little bit. And I think that that's great. But
I heard someone... go ahead.
I was going to say, to get back to your comment that you were saying they were trying to prove themselves, I almost feel in the Fly Famous Mockingbird Iculus, you almost have proof of it. When they're we're a band from this place and this is how we do it, and we're here and we're going to show you how we do it where we're from. So, and I thought that was like
Yeah.
really unique and kind of unusual for Phish to say something like that. I think
Yeah, the line was troubadours from a different place.
Thank you, troubadours from a different
That was the
place.
line that stuck out for me, and because
Yeah,
it says a lot. Are you
yeah,
saying we're from a different, a different world?
yeah,
Are we just from a different part of the country? I mean, Burlington, having spent some time there, you're out there.
yeah,
Like, yeah, it's one of those you can't get there from here kind of towns. There's not that much near Burlington. It's a really nice town.
yeah.
But when you're there, you're very immersed in that little world.
Right.
So I would assume traveling the country, going to Southern California is a big adventure.
Yeah.
So you would feel like you were out of place. It would
Right.
be part of your persona because it was just what you were living in.
Totally. I mean, hell, I grew up in Southern California, and I always felt out of place there. I always
Yeah.
felt like I don't think I'm supposed to be here necessarily. And you know what? I'm still here. But it's okay to feel like a fish out of water. Pardon the pun. Sorry. Ugh, that was horrible.
Yeah.
All right,
I still liked it.
let's talk about the show. So
All right.
a lot of comments
I'm ready.
saying the Buried Alive Possum opener is an all-time Phish highlight. Pretty good. I think it's a great
Yeah,
opener.
I
you
liked
said,
it.
high energy. I don't know if I feel like the possum is necessarily like off the charts special, but it's a great possum.
Yeah, we've listened to so many recently that have the language lesson. It was nice to listen to one that was just possum with all the language in it.
Right.
So it was fun. If I try and just limit my Phish listening to the episodes we've gone through, it was really cool to hear all the language in practice.
Yeah.
And I would think for people that really didn't know it.
Right.
The
Yeah,
inside
especially 'cause there wasn't a
jokiness
lot of
was
people
there.
at the show too.
Yeah, I think right at the beginning of this show, all these first three, even into It's Ice, it was all good energy, really energetic, pretty ripping, great stuff, nice restraint at times. I thought they came out really strong, and they were defining the set really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. And then it hit Bouncin', which I thought was the first moment of we can't slow down. Like, I thought the timing was off.
It was off. Yeah.
Started too fast. They were a little too fired up. It was a little sloppy. I know I'm splitting hairs, but I actually am one of those people that loves Bouncin'.
Yeah, I was going to
just
say, I
love
don't think you are
composition.
splitting
It's a
hairs.
great song.
Yeah. No, I agree. Bouncing's
but
an awesome song, and I think it's completely reasonable to expect that it's to be played perfectly.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the hit. Just nail that.
Yeah.
And the famous Trey line of I don't, in the Bittersweet Motel about I don't give a shit if we played this wrong or that wrong. It's all about the energy. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But you can do both too.
Yeah.
And that's when it's great.
Right.
When it's perfect and it's crazy energetic.
Right.
And there's moments in this show, but it leans more towards the energetic side.
Yeah.
And then this Split Open and Melt also fast. And I thought that was the moment where I'm listening in headphones and Paige and even Fishman were gone.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to listen. I said, where'd Paige go? And I think he really I got a little angry. I think some of my notes of this, I got pretty angry through that and through Split and through Rift. Because, I'm reading other people talk about the show and they're talking about this great version of both. And I don't know. I said how frustrated I was that we can't, why people argue. There's a really interesting thread on Fishnet, Sanity Saturday, Volume 6. It's called Rocks, Trees, Boulders.
Uh-huh.
And it's lots of people talking about this show. And there was one person that argued this is why they don't release official recordings of shows because some of these sound so good. And I'm 100% the opposite. I mean, I was so mad that I couldn't hear half the band.
Right.
It just crushed my spirit.
And you're saying that that's a result of the recording, not a result of Paige just kind of...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought that whenever Trey and Mike got loud and the energy went up, Fishman and Paige were gone.
Right.
And then the quieter songs, you could hear them again. You're like, oh, great, this is so much better.
Yeah.
But the minute it got raging, it was just gone.
Huh. Well, I have to say, I didn't listen to it on my headphones, and I didn't notice either. I thought the split was really good. I think because it was high energy, and I really like these early splits. I know we don't have the jam quite tacked on there, but I think that they they do a great job with the kind of like the song section and then the acapella section towards the beginning of the jam, and I really like that. And I think also Split Open and Melt is a song where I like having Mike's bass up front. And so for some reason, I feel like this particular version worked for me. I didn't think it was an all-time version, but I'm looking forward to listening back to it on my headphones and getting angry. We'll see what happens.
You have to have some anger in life. Keeps you fueled up. Yeah, I really I did love Trey's playing.
Yeah.
And I thought there's great moments throughout the whole show. I just overall I'm getting spoiled.
Right.
I want beautiful multi-track mixed, cleaned up, I want people with the best audio out there to really take some time with these and fix them.
Right.
And I think that, is it the time? Because I could pick up a second job.
Guys, let's get Sam some info here. Let's get him working.
Is it that the money spent would be not worth the money earned?
Right.
Which I don't think is possible. Purely on just, streaming subscriptions alone. But I digress. Yeah, I think, we can move on to the weird fee maze.
Okay. So, Sam, what did you think of the weird fee maze?
I like to call them the weird fee maze. Well, the transition it's strange.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. I can't
Right.
figure out if it was an accident. I can't figure out if it was pre-planned as like, let's just try this out and see what happens. I thought it was strange.
Yeah.
I think you slightly my notes were just strange transition to maze, and then after maze I just put okay.
Lily turned and began to scream at Floyd. She said, "You think you're pretty mean." But she was as thin as a small string bean. She slammed him in the face with a nectarine.
I feel like maybe it took away from both. At this minute, I can't remember either song, but I remember the transition just being, it was a little strange.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can add to that. You're right, because fee just kind of like, it peters out, kind of like nice and gentle, and then the kind of, the hi-hat comes in. I don't know.
It's not building, it's not building a theme or a feel through the set.
No.
I think moments like this kind of throw a little bit of a jarring strangeness into it.
Yeah, I think they would have been better off going Split Open and Melt, Rift, and then Maze, and then it would have just been like this total like rocker, and then maybe it could cool out, take a breather.
Yeah.
But I think Trey was very experimental with the set list back then, and he was just kind of like, I want to see which songs work together. I want to see which combinations of songs. He's still like that. So you could tell at the Beacon Jams thing that he spent so much freaking time on those set lists, and the Baker's dozen. I think at this point that's like half of the excitement for him is figuring out how to juxtapose that. But I get it. It's like sequencing an album in a way. It's like getting to re-sequence an album over and over and over again, and then adding these improvisations. And so it's cool. It's one of the reasons why we like the band. But yeah, sometimes I wouldn't say it didn't work, but I wouldn't say like I'd really like to hear a Fee Maze again. That's not necessarily a combo I'd be super into.
I find myself in many of the bands that I've been in. Some I was the exclusive setlist writer, and some we'd all work together on it, and a lot of collaboration between all those different things and people in the bands. But I found myself often having to write the set list.
Right.
And getting a lot of enjoyment out of it and trying to find new combinations of this key to this key and how is this going to happen and how is it going to create flow. And I do appreciate the time when Trey kind of gave up writing set lists and they were a little more free. Mm-hmm. But then I also remember watching it. I've only seen a handful of shows in 3.0 and I was one of those staunch, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Right.
And then after some years, they really started playing great again. And I've seen some good shows.
Yeah.
But one of the big noticeable differences for me was there's like a minute of them just milling about on stage and talking to each other between songs.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing them earlier on where I loved that it was just go, 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 bang, bang, bang. And the only time they were taking a break, it was a beautiful, calming instrumental passage.
Right.
So I'm not happy with these huge gaps it shows.
Right.
So
You're saying in 3.0
I
huge
almost,
gaps it shows.
yeah, I like the set list writing.
Yeah.
I mean, if a song grabs you in the moment, go for it. But we still can have a structure.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of like funny you should mention that I feel like when I'm watching the show and I can like see it visually and I can see them like talking to each other or making a joke or Trey kind of like, oh, let's do this. And then Paige kind of smiles or have a laugh, that I really like watching that. But listening to it is a whole nother thing because you can't see the communication. Either way, still so much better than The Dead. I mean, The Dead was really
Yes.
bad at that.
I guess those moments, they make me think of the worst aspects of The Dead, where it's like, 15 minutes of playing and then 5 minutes of just tuning and wandering about. Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with the sort of attitude of like early on they were out to conquer and then later on they were out to have fun and out to have people feel that fun contagiously. They're two different kind of bands. Both awesome. We're kind of getting to the Forbin's Mockingbird, Iculus Mockingbird. And I've always loved Forbin's Mockingbird. Just loved it. I love the story. I love the complicated nature of the composition.
Gorgeous compositions.
Like Broadway musical stuff. And but as I get older and I listen to it more and more and I start really paying attention to it, to get back to the weird, they are very strange compositions, especially Colonel Forbin.
Yes.
And like the sort of the harmonies that they choose and the notes and the changes, very, very unique, unpredictable changes. So it is really cool. I mean, obviously, if you get to hear a Forbin's Mockingbird these days, or even in the late 90s, you considered yourself to be a very lucky individual that you even got to see it, whether it was a good one or not. And to be able to like listen to these early ones when they were really putting their all into it is just super great and really exciting. So I feel like even though maybe musically this section wasn't the most outrageously awesome in terms of it being an engaging musical moment to kind of enter the world of Phish folklore, this is really a beautiful moment.
Okay, well now this is our first time in Southern California, so thank you. Very exciting. But right now what we want to do is, if we can bring it way down, we're going to take you on a little journey back to where we come from, which is a long way away from here. And we're happy to be here, and we're happy to be out here by the beautiful ocean and everything, but where we come from is far away from the ocean. So if you watch it right now, come with me while we just kind of open the roof up on top of this building, let some of the air flow in here, and just imagine we're lifting up off the ground and up into the sky. And as you go up in the air, you can look down, you can see the lining of the shore go away and the little oil pumps out there in the middle of the and all that, and it's kind of lifting up, and you can get up and now up there in the clouds a little bit, and we're going to take you with us now back to where we come from, because we're troubadours from a different place than around here. So we're coming with us now, and the clouds are lifting apart, and as we go off, you can start to see sort of the continental divide over there, and the whole Colorado and everything, the Midwest, Canada, Alaska, and just going up into the darkness ahead and flipping backwards and spinning through the eons, through time and energy has no meaning anymore. And slowly you start to come out and break through the blackness, and you can see us, and now we're floating over a different place with large...
Yeah, being in my shoes, knowing a lot about the Gamehenge story, I loved this.
Yeah.
But it did make me question, if I looked from the perspective of someone that had never seen the band, it almost felt like it required you to have some knowledge of what they were talking about.
Right.
So there's times where the band seems like it's playing to fans in the future rather than to the room.
Right.
And that pulled me out of it a little, because I really work hard to mentally get myself, and like I'm standing in the Anaconda Theater and I've never seen this band, or that was a moment where some pre-knowledge was needed. But I think the way there was a lot of the storytelling of, like when we talked about Troubadours from a Different Place. They're setting a stage.
Right.
And it is a very interesting, storytelling stretch.
Yeah.
And I think the first real one we've had in the shows we've listened to thus far.
Yes, absolutely.
Trey, the storyteller.
And it's funny to even talk about it. Like, how many bands tell stories? I mean, it's pretty unusual.
Yes.
Pretty unusual. And he does a really great job of it. And it is a myth that is forever applicable. It's not something that is going to age any other way than just perfectly. I mean, he picked a real timeless myth to kind of play with. And trying to think if I can't remember offhand how well he played the Mockingbird. Did he nail the Mockingbird? I don't think he did.
I loved the Mockingbird.
Oh, okay.
Well,
because the Mockingbird had a jam on it.
And really great mic at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say the Mockingbird had
great.
a nice ending section. Yeah.
And I think most people forget that the ending section has the bass solo.
Right.
And with Mike like way out front, he plays the solo spot on. It's beautiful. It's really well done. Yeah, they're I think Mockingbird almost feels less complicated after Forbins, but there's a lot happening compositionally in that song. There's just a lot going on.
Well,
it was great.
I only brought up the
this
beginning
was the part of the show I really got into.
I only brought up the Trey playing the Mockingbird correctly because I feel like it is so difficult. And then I think of like a few compositions that even back then were just like All Things Reconsidered, the beginning of Mockingbird. These are really, really complicated compositions that just, if he nails it ever, I'm always just like, I can't believe he nailed it. Like he was composing music that even he knew would be a stretch for him to play to kind of force himself to get better. And I think that's one of the reasons why I really like Famous Mockingbird. Plus I like imagining a fly, famous mockingbird. I like imagining them a mockingbird.
They are
flying.
both visual songs.
Yeah. Yeah, they're extremely
they're
visual.
Tumbling down the mountain to the dismal swamp. Like, it's tumbling music. I always visually perceive rocks smashing and crumbling down a mountain. And it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's well done.
Yeah, I guess I've seen a Forbin's Mockingbird, but I saw the Vegas 2000 one, so we didn't get like a full-fledged kind of classic story. But it was cool. Yeah. It was cool to see.
Yeah, that was good.
All right, so where are we now?
And then the Antelope.
The Antelope.
We're set closer. Yeah, I there was people seemed to love this Antelope. I thought it was all right.
Yeah, it was all right.
I think maybe I was so crushed by the last few Antelopes that were so good.
Yeah.
This one I was kind of, I liked it, but I wasn't, I don't know. I wasn't going to write home about it.
Right. I agree. And especially after that set, it's just such a rockin' set. Like, Antelopes, I always love an antelope. I'm not going to complain about an antelope. It's one of those songs. You're always happy to hear it.
Yeah.
But it is nice when you've kind of gone through a section where you kind of mellowed out, you found some space, and then you're kind of like coming back, and they're going to like punch you real hard with the antelope.
Yeah, and the end of this one was weird too, the no Rocco section. Like, It just felt, I don't know, it was a little strange.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like the show needed, they didn't have as many great, especially first set closers at this time.
Right.
Where I feel like by 97, 98, they had an arsenal of them.
Yeah.
And they were predictable, but they could hammer them out. Like this point, like Golgi maybe next.
Sure.
They're, like a nice, tight, big set closer kind of tune.
Right.
So it felt a little like truncated at the end, a little.
And that's true, because
because
they were really light on the covers, huh?
Yeah.
Really, there's no covers in this show. Is there? Oh, well.
Terrapin, I guess.
Yeah, Terrapin, Cold as Ice, but even that is like, I don't even really think of that as a cover. I just kind of think of that as a moment to Fishman to display all that is
An
Fishman.
interlude.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's an interlude with the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think
Yeah.
we're at the end of the first set. I think we're landing here, even before we get to the second set, that this is definitely going to be a show that might get cut from the 100. We'll see.
Yeah. No, talking through it, I figured I felt a certain way. Maybe Ian jumps at me and really pushes me harder to try and question things. But we seem to be on the same page.
Well, I think we have both done a fair amount of research in 92 and listened to a lot of other shows and jams from around this period to just kind of put it in perspective. And I think once I heard those other jams, it kind of made clear that maybe this was a selection that was based on availability and sound quality and the fact that it was just such a popular tape. So,
which is weird that it makes this list for me.
Yeah.
Because you could have picked, and we discussed this off mic, but you could have picked anything from the week following.
Right.
This run in general. And for me, I had the Palo Alto show, the Squirt Gun Break.
Right.
I had that pretty early on as well. And that show has some incredible jamming, and it mic out front again.
Right.
But in re-listening, the Warfield from the night after this really, that wets my whistle.
Right.
That's my hot take.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I move it to the next night.
There was some amazing jams in that show, and big jams, like where they're kind of stepping out a little bit.
That Reba, that Tweezer, the Bowie. I thought that was a big, it's an easy one for me to shift it one night later. And I thought the recording quality on that show was great. Not quite as clean and bright as this one, but still really great.
Yeah. And then the 421.
Give me an official release of that, and I'm all set.
Of the 417?
Yeah, the Redwood Acres.
Oh, the Redwood Acres, yeah.
Yes.
That tweezer.
But official 417, and I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, we got a couple of replacement shows here.
But I thought, when I started listening to set 2, I took a break. I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm not doing it. Then that Sanity.
Yeah.
Was great. Mm-hmm. I thought, wow, what an opener. Maybe they'll shake the cobwebs. That was a first set, and they're, maybe I'm thinking later, they're going to crush set 2.
Right.
And then next to Llama, I just put, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, that Llama was just shredding Trey. I was, normally, so that doesn't get me as much, but there was a moment in there, somewhere in this like second peak. I was, what the fuck?
Yeah, like,
it was
how'd you do that?
Very impressive.
Yeah.
It was very impressive and just balls to the wall energy. I think the band probably came out feeling good, and then he said, no. We're going back to 11. And then I think, the Lizards after that, they tried to cool it off and it didn't work.
Right. Yeah, that was...
And you can't hear Page.
I don't think that was the best song placement, in my opinion. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. You couldn't hear Page, and I did notice that. But I think it would have... The Mike's Hydrogen, Weekapaw, then Lizards might have been I don't know. Tough to say.
Yeah, and the Mike's was great.
Mm-hmm.
I thought one of the big tentpoles of the show, but not... first thing right away I wrote next to the Weekapaw, I'm like, what is it with Weekapaws in 92? It was pretty amazing.
Well, they just have the
there's
ability
just a
to.
bunch of moments.
They're so nimble and they're playing so fast, and there's like so much energy, and that's what that song is all about. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
until we get to the funk period, and then it kind of becomes a whole nother thing. But at this point, that's what it was all about.
Yeah, and it with Mike way out front, the beginning of the song, it's a little bothersome, like the slap bass being that I don't. You can tell that he recently put on new strings. Like maybe it's the bass player in me. There's a lot of little nuanced details. It sounds a little. I don't know. It's too out front.
Right.
But once it settles into the jam, it's great.
Yeah. It almost kind of made me giggle a little bit. Like it just sounded silly, and that's like something Mike does like to do with his bass. So it was kind of like it is cool because he was out
in
front.
A good way.
He's a silly bass player.
Yeah, and the mics is so dark, and the hydrogen is, really pretty. That Weekapaw really steps up and does the job.
Yeah.
And then I think the horn that follows was a great song choice. I wrote next to it, do you remember when they could play this tight? Because they nail it. It's perfect.
They do.
And that song's always kind of stuck to me. I love that song.
Yeah, I love horn too. And just to be a defender, they've got some pretty amazing. Like with 3.0, I feel like one of the things that they still do incredibly is ballads. I think from 2009 to 2011, they would still, like, sometimes there would be some flubs or they wouldn't be perfect. But I feel like from 2012 on, most of the time when I've seen shows and I see ballads, I'm very moved. I'm like, wow, that was very powerful.
Yeah.
There isn't quite the emotional vulnerability in the newer shows. So like this horn, for instance, like you can feel it feels truer. Like when you listen to these early versions, you're like, you kind of feel Trey in that car honking his horn or whatever. Sure. And just as they become more refined and more mature and play it like ultra classy, and it just, they really take their time with giving it space. It's beautiful, but for some reason I feel like maybe it's a little bit less emotionally resonant. I feel like hearing cracks in voices, hearing imperfections, oftentimes can lend a power to music that perfection can't. And I know we've been kind of picking on Trey.
Yeah, maturity lens.
Yeah. I think we've been picking on Trey a little bit for that comment he made in Bittersweet Motel about not being concerned with, hitting all the notes and energy. But I do feel like at this point, in 1992, I feel like he was very concerned with hitting the notes. I don't think that he adapted that philosophy till later, when the shows became more about energy because they were playing in arenas and whatnot. But I mean, this is like a small little club, and you get the feeling that, and we know this from history, that when they walked off stage, if notes were missed, people were probably going to be called out on it. And feathers got ruffled and they had to stop doing that. So I appreciate that they went through that period, but I can also appreciate that they don't want to do it now, much as I kind of wish they would. They were such an amazing guitar band.
Times.
Yeah, they were just such an amazing guitar band at this time. I don't know. We've talked about this in private, but there's a big part of me that wishes that when they came back for 2.0 or even 3.0, that they really put some effort into reinventing themselves as a band. I think that I can understand why they keep the same format and they're playing the same songs, because they are bringing a lot of joy to people, and there's this whole new multiple generations that are, discovering the band. But I would have so loved it if they just went all electronic, or they went into composition or ambient, or to keep the improvisation, but to change the instrumentation. Trey is such a curious musician that he could have, just gone into keyboards or into rhythm, or hell, he could have picked up a synclavier like Frank Zappa and just kind of done a Radiohead kind of thing where they kind of went into a whole different world of music. And I always feel like we got a little bit cheated there, because like I said, and one of the most amazing guitar bands ever at this point in their career, and they're still trying to do it now, and it's just not gonna happen. I mean, I'm not saying that Trey doesn't play amazing licks on the guitar and he finds like a beautiful melodic improv that really sticks with me for a long time. He does do that, but it's not necessary that he does it on the guitar. So I don't know. That was a little bit of a tangent, but it's just something that I think about a lot when I listen to these shows, where I'm just like, man, they really were just so great. Didn't they see that? I don't know. As an artist.
Well, we used to talk about
Yeah.
this before 2.0,
Yeah.
where we said, I mean, it was always the breakup, I thought, in 2000 was genius.
Mhm.
I mean, I was a little upset, of course, but I
Yeah.
thought, great, I'll save some money.
Right.
They're not going to be gone forever.
Yeah.
And they'll reinvent themselves. They'll take
Right.
a break. Touring is hard.
Right.
Big musician life is, people think it's all glamour. It beats you up.
Yeah.
And the vices out there are real for all of us,
Yeah.
but especially when you're in those shoes and someone's handing you a vice every second.
Right.
Taking a break is great. Remembering why you do it, getting deep into your, fixing your personal life maybe, and getting back on track. I thought that was a great idea. And we were all speculating, are they going to come back with new band members, with different arrangements, with maybe an entire new slew of songs and never play the old songs ever again.
Right.
Clean break.
Yeah.
That was really, I remember, Ryan and I especially having long talks about it, like, do the clean break.
Yeah, that's the dream.
We could never hear these songs again. That's it. They're all written. They're all done.
Yeah.
Beyond the fact of how much work that would be as a musician, but I never, ever, ever looked at this band and thought that they don't have that in them. They don't have the work ethic. Of course they do.
Yeah.
And then, there were moments of it, like the Halloween where they played Fuego. I sat on my couch and watched that, and I was floored. I was as enraptured as any Phish experience I've had. That was gorgeous, balls, like that took a lot of guts, and they did it so well. And that's what I wanted to see, but their entire repertoire when they returned. And then 2.0 was so disappointing for me. And I love the big jams. I love to be high and listen to Phish, and I know there were some great moments in there. But I can't get past a lot of it.
Yeah.
And then when 3.0 came up, I think they did some tweaking to tighten themselves up. And I think maybe there was some of that fixing personal lives and getting things square, but we never saw the resurgence of the vigor that you're talking about.
Right. And
that artistic flame.
Yeah, you're so right. Vigor. That's such a great word to describe it. And I get it. I don't want to be like, I don't understand. Their personal relationships got broken, when they, in that initial breakup after 1.0. So in order to reinvent yourself as a band, you have to have a lot of conversations with each other and be willing to bend and to let your ego go. And I just think they weren't willing to do the personal therapy work to get there, to be able to cross that bridge artistically, which, again, I totally understand. They have lives, they have families, they're getting old. I mean, I'm pretty lazy. I don't paint as much as I know I should. So no judgment. I'm just pipe dreams. I'm just talking pipe dreams. That's all. Phish, great.
Yeah, we're allowed to pipe dream.
Keep it up.
The fact that a band would make us pipe dream to that level and actually assume that they might do it is like, let's just take this whole thing that got us to this position and throw it out the window and just start new. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's a stupid thing to do, but I would never put it past them.
I want to address the wingsuit Halloween real quick. I also loved that show. And
oh my God.
It gets shit on so much. I mean, it is like, not only just like, you see people ranking Halloweens and it's like far at the very bottom. To tell you the truth, I preferred it to the David Bowie Halloween in terms of like the album itself. I enjoyed listening to that performance of Fuego more than I enjoyed them not improvising on Bowie. There was a couple good moments in Bowie. The movie
I couldn't even listen to the Bowie album. I thought it was, what are you doing? And Halloweens are special to my heart.
Yeah.
Really special. As they should be to Phish fans. And all of them are their own special thing.
Yeah.
But I thought that should be top 3 easy. And sure, there were some cringy moments, but they were playing new songs.
Yeah, it's pure
thousands and thousands of people.
It's pure Phish. Like, it was just such a Phish moment.
Yes.
And
that's what got me.
Yeah, and I think the reason why it gets so reamed is because people went in there with expectations of like, oh, I hear Led Zeppelin, or Jimi Hendrix.
You paid to see the band Phish, and they're playing an entire new album no one's heard for you.
Yes.
Shut the fuck up. This is as good as it gets.
Beyond that, if you were in the room to witness that moment with Abe Vigoda, I mean, fuck, you're complaining about that? Yep. Jesus. Yep. You saw Abe Vigoda dance like a wombat You've
Yep.
lived. Be proud.
Hey, man, let's bring these guys back up for we're very, very excited about our dancer tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please, playing the wombat tonight, the incredible, legendary Abe Vigoda of the TV show Phish, of The Godfather, Abe Vigoda, and the Vigoda Dancers. Let's hear it for him. Abe Vigoda was in the wombat suit. He's got a new career as a dancer now. There he is now, Abe Vigoda. You probably remember him as Tessio in The Godfather, an incredible Phish TV show. There he is, Abe Vigoda. Let's hear it for him. Abe Vigoda.
Okay,
That was the
that's
moment.
it. That's
That
my-
I was crying laughing.
Yeah.
You know, I have a little baby asleep in the other room. My wife's asleep, and I'm sitting on the couch with headphones on, just crying laughing. I was so happy.
Yeah.
And
so-
I remember that moment like I was there.
Yeah.
And I've watched a bunch of shows from home and just like I'll be doing something else, not even paying attention sometimes. But that was a peak moment. That show ruled.
No big jams though, man. No big jams.
Okay. Well, look at I thought they took that model and they wove it into doing two other incredible Halloweens, which was the Spooky Sounds,
Yeah.
which was all I mean, not in the same vein, and I don't think the song craft was exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, the last Halloween with Kazavat Vost was just it was incredible.
Yeah,
I love those songs.
If
They
they're
keep surprising me.
Yeah, Phish never fails to one up themselves. They're pretty amazing at that. I can honestly say that I can't think of any other band that has put effort into just topping themselves over and over and over and over again and just making
It's
that
got to
a
be
goal.
exhausting.
Yeah, it's
Exhausting.
really exhausting.
I mean, you finish this show. You know, we can not even talk about the rest of the show.
Yeah,
I was
let's
pretty
not.
bad-
Let's be
pretty blah
rebellious.
about the
Fuck
whole
the rest of this
Yeah.
show.
It ends with the worst Sleeping Monkey harmonies you've ever heard. Let's
Yeah.
just leave it there.
Although I did enjoy
And a
the
triple
Susie Q.
acapella, which
Yeah.
yes, but the triple acapella. Come on, it was weird. I'm just
Yeah.
staying out of it. But to be this band, I remember I'd heard someone talking about 92 Phish and they called them zany.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, it stuck in my head. I like words, and my kids are always asking me to define words, and I have to ask Siri sometimes, even you know. But zany is defined as amusingly unconventional and idiosyncratic,
Right.
and I thought that would be the word to define Phish in this era:
Yes. Perfect word.
amusingly unconventional and idiosyncratic, which is perfect.
Yeah.
And I think later in their life, they were not attempting to be zany.
Right.
I think there was a real, you know, there was fun, and there was a real 97. I think was a shift to we are serious professionals now, and there still was humor, but like Fishman was in the suit, got to
Yeah.
look good in the suit. He came out, put his hat in the hat rack, took his jacket off, and put it on the little rack. Sat down at the drums. You're like, oh, like what is this Phish?
Right.
And they had some different eras.
But Zany was kind of on its way out in 95, no? Yeah.
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 It was on its way.
Yeah.
But it really defined this era for me, and this show has some of that. I get it.
Well, I think it's interesting with the word zany because I do think it's perfect, but it is not enough because this is very serious music still.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hear the word zany, you don't necessarily think it's going to be some serious music, but it's kind of like serious music wrapped in a zany package.
Yeah.
So much like Zappa, to get back to it. You can
Yeah,
definitely hear
I've
the
heard
difference.
multiple personal stories of people going to see this band and at some point being in shock. They're like, where are the charts?
Right.
How are they, like, what are they reading off of?
Right.
Like, oh, they don't read off anything. This is, they have this all memorized and they just do this. And as they're, you know, we may be selling short you could say that modern Phish is taking these great compositions and they're just going out on, you know, victory tours every day with them now, which is it's sort of insulting to say.
Right.
But if you think about the breadth of the catalog, the amount of work that they have to put into before a tour just to brush up on this stuff.
Yeah.
Songs go away. It's not just riding a bike.
Yeah.
They go away. And you have to keep your mind sharp. You have to, and with the size of the catalog, as you mentioned Baker's Dozen earlier, that was a feat.
Yeah.
Very rarely seen in bands.
Right.
And there aren't a lot of bands out there that want to do that. There aren't any bands out there that want to do that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
There's none. They're singular. So we can nitpick and complain, but it's done because they wouldn't get there, I don't think, without the fans expecting that much.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm in this like place now after having watched the Beacon jams where there is like a little part of me that's kind of hoping that Trey tries to do a little reinvention, but there's another part of me that knows or thinks that they're just going to come out and open with Down with Disease and just they'll cave to the fact that everybody just wants their simple concert experience back and just wants to hear Tweezer again. I don't know why all of this frustrates me so much, but just like hearing people whine, just like, I just need to go see a show. I just like, I hear that.
I want to see an acoustic.
What are you, 23? Like,
yeah, come on.
I don't know.
I want an acoustic tour.
Yeah,
let's do that.
Right.
I think that would be amazing. You come out and do a 90-minute set of acoustic material and you're done. Bye-bye. Go home.
Yeah.
I would pay for that show and I would die for it.
Yeah.
Why don't we do a horn tour?
Yeah.
Why don't we write arrangements to all these new songs?
I mean, hell, that Beacon, the whole Beacon thing was just like, it was an opportunity to Trey do stand-up in a way, like for me to just sit there and watch Trey just talk to me and just tell stories. And it was fucking awesome. Like, it was great.
I thought he was revolutionizing the concept of what to do during this horrible time we're all in, you know?
Yeah, and it was great.
And
so, well, we're
keeping musicians working in his own way.
Yeah, exactly. In a really cool way. He did a wonderful thing.
Yeah. So. We're precursoring episode 5.
Okay.
Which I think is going to be controversial as well.
Okay.
I've held back listening to the second set until, right before we can record, and I'll give it a few listens, but it's 2/20/93 at the Roxy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a controversial show. Is it beautiful? Is it sloppy trash? It's the Segway Fest, so
sure,
it can go both ways.
I have a lot of experience with this show. I've listened to it many times.
Me as well. It's been a while.
In pretty much every state of altered consciousness I can think of.
Yep.
I've tried all the varieties.
I've been there with you for some.
And I love it. I mean, we'll get to it. We'll get to it next time. But you're right. It is sloppy. It's a mess, and it's wonderful, and it's art with a capital A all at the same time. But before you listen to the show, I would say you need to study up on it a little bit, because I do think it's really important to know that the band was not getting along in set 2, and that Mike and Trey were butting heads, and then Fishman had to try and get them to make peace. During the Fishman segment, as he says, "We're a mellow band. We get along." It's really pretty great. So I'm not going to spoil any more, but keep an ear out for that precious, hilarious moment.
I like when bands fight on stage, but they're professional enough to keep it just to the music.
Yeah, because Trey and Mike are like warring in that jam. They're like, "No, we're playing this. No, we're playing this. No, we're playing this." And it is fucking brilliant to listen to, but it is also at the same time a little hard on the brain and ears at moments.
I feel like I'm putting myself into some shoes as we go through these. I'm developing, like anything else, as you get into something, I'm developing a character that I'm attempting to embody as I'm a listener. That is someone who's going through this for the first time. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to do. It's a mental trick I'm trying. That if there's someone, we could name them at some point. Fictitious character who's walking down this path going, this is an interesting podcast in this band I've been wanting to listen to. And, maybe I'll listen along and listen to each of these shows and hear these fine gentlemen speak of this band.
Right.
So I'm trying to put myself into that headspace of that.
Okay.
So before this show, getting into that headspace is going to be hard. Because like you said, I have a lot of history with it.
Yeah.
Like you do. And, it's a tough one to swallow. So from that perspective, it might just be the best listen I've ever had.
Right.
So I'm like, this band's crazy. What are they doing?
Yeah.
That's not Gene Simmons.
Yeah, my kids love that version of Rock and Roll All Night. Like we listen to it on the regular. It's It's just got a lot of energy to it. More so than I love the original. But honestly, when I listen to this version of Rock and Roll All Night, it gets me more pumped up. I get like, yeah, I'm gonna rock and roll all night. So they definitely channeled it. Well, let's wrap it up. Is there anything else we want to discuss?
Yeah.
Art, music, movies, TV shows, anything we've been moved by this week?
I don't know. Vaccines.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
That's about where I'm at. I know. No, it's been a rough winter.
Yeah.
So I was moved by 40-degree weather and the very first flowers poking through the ground today.
Mm-hmm.
So
beautiful.
That's as far as I'm getting.
Okay.
We're gonna get there.
Well, I'd like to throw out a couple of things. The Neil Young Archives Volume 2 is out, and it's unbelievable. It's like from his best period, and in my mind, all like remastered, great live stuff. I threw it on the other day, and like 2 hours later, I was just like, man, this is something.
Oh, wow.
So check that out. And then also, there's a gentleman that I follow on Twitter. His name is Brad Farberman, and he seems to be a musician curator of sorts. I don't know a lot about him, but I know he makes great music recommendations. I've been following him for a while, and he turns me on to a lot of great stuff. And just a couple days ago, he suggested Johnny Hammond Smith album Higher Ground and the JB's album Hustle with Speed. I had not heard either one of them, and I was floored by both. The Hustle with Speed by the JB's is just like a straight up dance party. Like, I put it on in the backyard. Nice. I have 4 and 6-year-old boys, and I listen to so much music that they generally are just kind of like, what is Dad listening to? Put on the Beastie Boys. They just want to hear the Beastie Boys all the time. Although now we're slowly getting them into They Might Be Giants. But anyway, I put on the JB's, and yeah, within like 5 minutes, my 4-year-old was like in a trance doing dance moves that I've never seen him do. And then all of a sudden, my 6-year-old's in there. They're totally nude, just dancing in the backyard like they're possessed madmans. You know what? The JB's, they got it. They got it.
Yeah.
So,
good.
All right, check that out.
I needed recommendations. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
The only things I was forced into loving this week was my kids watched the second Lego movie.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, I didn't understand John Lejoie's involvement in the great songwriting in there. And then the Beck song featuring, is it Robin and the Lonely Island during the credits was great.
Yeah.
Just huge, studio production masterpieces that probably sound sick in a big theater.
Yeah.
And that the Everything's Not Awesome song was just really well done.
Yeah.
It's like, how about we just try and shoot for, everything's just not bad.
Right.
That's a pretty good place to be. Can't we just be there? That was the theme. And it stuck to me.
Hey, they were a couple of years ahead of their time, weren't they?
Yeah, it was a great piece of music, and that's literally where my musical life was this week.
Yeah.
To better times.
Well, Sam, it was wonderful talking to you. I think we finally got out a little bit of bitterness. We picked on the band a little bit. It felt good.
Yeah, I'm going to spend some time listening a few times to the Warfield show the next night, because I really enjoyed it on the first listen. So
yeah, I had
that might be my win out of this.
I had an experience listening to Tweezer. I was watching this movie called 24 Frames, which is like an art movie by a director who basically like animated still frame shots. It was like mostly in the snow. But whatever, I got the Criterion channel recently, and I was just kind of like, oh, check this out. Looks like something I could watch while I listen to the Tweezer. I put on the Tweezer, and it was like mostly like cold stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is really matching up. But I'm sure all you music fans know sometimes you get the right visuals and the right song, and you're just like, whoa, that was a moment. So
yeah. Free that part of your brain.
It was really great. Well, nice. Cool.
Yeah, it was good to talk to you, as always.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening. And we will talk to you soon. Be
Very
safe.
soon. Bye.
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 friends, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or would like to reach out to Ian and I about anything at all, you can find us at companion2thecompanion@gmail.com.